Morning, crypto fam. Today is January 3rd, 2023. Let's get it. In today's show, Bitcoin teases weekly highs as traders eye Bitcoin price leg up to $17,300. I'll be breaking down the latest technical analysis. Also in today's show, Bitcoin volatility may return and catch up with gold this year in 2023. That's right, both stocks and gold are leading the way when it comes to new year gains, but can Bitcoin match them? I'll be breaking this down for you. Also in today's show, Ethereum creator Vitalik reveals what he is bullish on for 2023. The crypto pioneer says that he is hopeful ETH will reach the basic roll-up scaling milestone in his roadmap diagram shared on Twitter. Also in today's show, the Three Arrows Capital founder gets called out by the community as he fires off accusations against DCG. Quoting him here, here's a rough summary of DCG situation. Number one, they conspired with FTX to attack Luna and Steth and made a fair bit doing so. Number two, they took substantial losses in the summer from our bankruptcy as well as Babel and other firms involved in GBTC. I'll be breaking all this drama down for you. Also in today's show, more bear market. Analyst looks at three on-chain models that signaled Bitcoin bottoms in the previous cycles. Also in today's show, Erik Voorhees, who is the ShapeShift CEO, tips $40,000 Bitcoin price by June, which is this summer, just 6 months away, but little consensus among pundits as Tim Draper stands by his $250,000 prediction for the second year running. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this, plus so much more, in today's show. Welcome everyone tuning in to today's episode of Crypto News Alerts. I'm your host, JV. This is pod episode number 1152. Today is January 3rd, 2023. And naturally, we have lots to discuss. So let's dive right in. Checking out the overall market. We can see Bitcoin down 0.5%, trading at 16,600 as the bulk of the major cryptos are all correcting and in the red as well, including Ethereum, BNB, XRP, Polkadot. And then we have one crypto in particular pumping like a mofo, up another 18% for the day, trading above $13, and that's Solana. Also, checking out coinmarketcap.com, we can see the current crypto market cap sitting at $808 billion with $22 billion in volume in the past 24 hours. Current Bitcoin dominance 39.9%, with the Ether dominance at 18.4%, and we've seen this dominance climb as high as 70% in previous bear market cycles for the King crypto. So it'll be interesting to see how high it climbs for this year. And checking out the top 100 crypto gainers for the past 24 hours, Kava leading the pack up 17%, trading at 64 cents, followed by Solana up almost 19%, trading above $13, followed by Flow up about 10%, trading above 73 cents. Below that, we have Lido DAO and Gate Token. And checking out the top 100 crypto gainers for the past week, we got Bit leading the pack up 35%, Solana up 21%, OKB up 20%, and Lido DAO up 16.5%. And checking out one of my favorite indicators, the Crypto Greed and Fear Index, shows we're currently rated a 26 in fear. Yesterday a 27, last week a 27, and last month a 26 in fear. So there you have it. With that being shared, now let's dive right into today's Bitcoin technical analysis and check out what's going on in the charts, shall we? Here we go. Bitcoin inched closer to $17,000 this morning, January 3rd, as the first Wall Street open of the year loomed. And right here, looking at the Bitcoin 1 hour candle chart. Now check it. Data from Cointelegraph Markets Pro and TradingView showed Bitcoin reaching highs of 16.7 on Bitstamp, its best performance since December 27th. Analysts and traders alike were keenly awaiting for the start of the Wall Street trading after European stocks posted gains the day prior and U.S. futures followed suit. Now, both equities and gold have looked considerably more appetizing than Bitcoin since the FTX meltdown in November. Quoting Crypto Chase here, if Bitcoin is finally ready to join the party, I can see it run to 17.3 as drawn below, and he shares a chart. And fellow account Cold-Blooded Schiller, what a name, likewise posted 17.3 as a target of interest for the bulls should the S&P 500 in particular play out in their favor. And quoting Rec Capital, despite a market-wide bounce, Bitcoin is still below the key 17,300 resistance as outlined here in this chart. And prior to the open, the US dollar began to see volatility, retracing a day of swift upside action, which took the US dollar over 104 for the first time since mid-December. Local move above the weekly from support I had marked out on the US dollar. PA Trader shared in an update on the day. If it can hold above the weekly, I would expect further upside on DXY, and thus a move down on ES/crypto. This again is based on if it can hold that weekly level into support. Now, Bitcoin avoids rising DCG tensions. Internal events, meanwhile, had noticeably little impact on the Bitcoin price strength. These take in the form of concerns over potential trouble for the digital currency group amid ongoing doubts over the fate of the conglomerates group over companies including Grayscale, operator of the largest Bitcoin institutional investment vehicle, which is the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. One client in particular took this public DGT task in an open letter to DCG CEO, which I covered in great detail in yesterday's episode. Barry Silbert, Cameron Winklevoss, the co-founder of Exchange Gemini, demanded answers. Gemini funds locked up since the FTX debacle began to total nearly $1 billion. Winklevoss stated, repeating the need for DCG to meet at a January 8th deadline to solve this problem. Silbert, formerly vocal on social media, had yet to respond to the letter at the time of the writing, and I'm going to give you some updates regarding all of this as well. But where do you feel for the short-term Bitcoin price action? Do you feel we're likely to drop even lower than where we're currently at? Or do you think we're likely to continue rising towards that $20,000 psychological barrier? Let me know your honest thoughts in the comments right down below, which leads us to our next story of the day. Let's discuss Bitcoin versus gold, shall we? Here we go. Bitcoin volatility is declining on schedule, but the Bitcoin price action can still play catch up with gold this year. The latest data and analysis shows that despite sideways moves in Bitcoin, the largest crypto is behaving as expected, with traders frustrated by the lack of tangible moves on Bitcoin volatility. It's under the microscope at the start of this year for analytics resource Econometrics. However, there is nothing to worry about. Bitcoin is becoming more stable with time, and this is a feature, not a bug. In Twitter comments on January 2nd, it stated, so far the pattern of less extreme volatile events as Bitcoin matures is confirmed, and an accompanying chart on Bitcoin average 1 month realized volatility distribution came with a description of Bitcoin being in a deep bear market. The data showed volatility ebbing at identical points in every 4-year halving cycle, making 2022 firmly fit the trend of volatility decreasing more in each of the bear markets, which is outlined here in this chart. Now, Econometrics nonetheless noted that volatility is not yet at record lows, contrary to data from newer sources such as the Bitcoin Historical Volatility Index. That's right. Now, in terms of triggers which could upend the status quo in volatility, investors may need to look out for. In addition to the return of TradeFi volume on January 3rd, analysts are eyeing a potential game of cat and mouse between Bitcoin and gold. Quoting TED Talks Macro here, 2023 will be one of the best yet for precious metals, in my opinion. Will Bitcoin play catch up? Let me know if you agree or disagree with TED Talks Macro. And comparing the two assets shows the impact of the FTX meltdown in November enduring for Bitcoin, while gold has seen a comparative renaissance, and until then, 2 more were in lockstep. Data from Cointelegraph Markets Pro and TradingView shows. Also note that stocks may also provide a quicker boost to the Bitcoin price performance, with the U.S. futures trending up before the year's first Wall Street session, copying 1 to 2% gains in Europe from the day prior. Quoting Mikhail Van de Pop, Bitcoin looks ready for continuation, but always difficult to call when U.S. opens up tomorrow. I'd be chasing the $16,600 area if you're not in a position with targets between $17,000 and $17,100. Let me know regarding that target. Do you feel likely Bitcoin is on track to hit that, or do you think we're likely to drop lower? Holla at your boy. Which leads us to our next story of the day. Let's discuss a little bit of Ethereum for 2023 as per the co-founder himself, Vitalik Buterin. Let's break it down. Crypto Pioneer says he is hopeful Ethereum will reach the basic roll-up scaling milestone in his roadmap diagram shared on Twitter. Buterin says that the milestone includes rolling out Ethereum Improvement Proposal 4844, which he explains here. EIP 4844 introduces a new kind of transaction type to Ethereum, which accepts blobs of data to be persisted in the beacon node for a short period of time. These changes are forwards compatible with the Ethereum's scaling roadmap, and blobs are small enough to keep disuse manageable. And according to the diagram shared by Buterin, EIP 4844 is a part of Ethereum's development dubbed the Surge, which aims to get the leading smart contract platform to process 100,000 transactions per second or more, as outlined right here. You can see the merge, the surge, the scourge, the verge, the purge, and the splurge. Somebody trying to be a rapper here. Buterin also says that the basic roll-up scaling milestone involves partially taking off training wheels on roll-ups, which is pretty interesting. Check it out. Roll-ups are solutions that execute transactions outside of Ethereum's blockchain, but record the transactional data. The two types of roll-ups are optimistic roll-ups and zero-knowledge roll-ups. Optimistic roll-ups automatically assume transactions are valid, while ZK roll-ups run computations off the chain and then submit a validity report. Now, Buterin says partially taken off the training wheels involves running a fraud proof or validity proof scheme. ETH, interesting word to use there. ETH is trading at now around 1,200 at the time of this recording. The second ranked crypto asset by market cap is up about, let's get the latest data right here. We're actually currently down 0.61%, but barely still just above that $1,200 support. Are you currently bullish or bearish on Ethereum, the leading smart contract platform? Let me know your thoughts in the comments right down below. And do you think these updates for the Ethereum protocol is likely to help the price action on Ethereum? Let me know what you think. And with that being shared, now let's get into the saga and the drama, which is on everyone's mind on crypto Twitter right now, and that's Genesis as well as DCG. And this is actually quite interesting. A liquidity issue surrounding the digital currency group, better known as DCG. Three Arrows Capital founder Su Zhu made a Twitter thread containing allegations against DCG and FTX. However, the founder immediately got called out by the crypto community for blaming others and not taking accountability. Well, I want to start here by reading the entire thread. I started with, in the intro, I already shared number 1, which is a rough summary of the DCG situation, and he continues. So let's get to what he says here. Number 4, instead, they fabricated a left pocket, right pocket callable promissory note that magically filled the hole. This is like a kid losing at poker and saying, I am fine, my dad will pay you, let me keep playing. But if your dad is actually yourself, they, like FTX, proceeded to misdirect for months using various methods to attack us and also not have anyone ask the hard questions, which is, how did Genesis fill the hole? Number 6, they, like FTX, spent 6 months taking more deposits while insolvent and hoping the market goes up. Number 7, DCG value is 0, criminal fraud. FTX creditors also have case for fraudulent conveyance of Alameda returns of capital to Genesis. And number 8, most OGs are well aware of how close Barry and SBF were since the beginning. SBF is on the board of Genesis. They gave him his first FTT back loan. You can't make this stuff up, folks. And he ends with number 9. Genesis creditors will push it into bankruptcy and take remaining DCG assets in coming days either way. They are likely demanding Barry pays back his cash outs the easy way instead of waiting for the Department of Justice criminal case with restitution punishments. So there you have it. Very bold claims by CZ, and not CZ, my apologies, from Su Zhu, the Three Arrows Capital founder. Now, here's a response. So it was everyone else's fault, and you take no personal responsibility at all for your actions. Now, the Daily Gwei host and Ether Bull, Anthony Sassano, also called out Shu on Twitter. Sassano employs sarcasm, saying everyone was behind the Three Arrows collapse except for Zhu and the co-founder, Kyle Davies. They are totally innocent parties who were simply forced to be on the losing side of the highly profitable trading strategies, obviously being extremely sarcastic there. Now, the Three Arrows Capital co-founder tweets came hours after Gemini founder Cameron Winklevoss posted an open letter to Barry Silbert, the CEO of DCG. Winklevoss urged Silbert to pay back $900 million that's allegedly owed by DCG's subsidiary company Genesis to Gemini's clients. The Gemini founder pointed out that DCG owes Genesis $1.6 billion and said that this is the money that Genesis should use to pay Gemini. However, Silbert responded that DCG never missed an interest payment to Genesis. Someone's lying. And apart from Zhu, other prominent members of the crypto community also hopped in on the convo. Blockstream CEO Adam Back also pointed out some of the factors that could be significant. He shared the following. One interesting open question is whether the 10-year maturity promissory note from DCG parent to Genesis is callable. Callable meaning it is the beneficiary. Genesis has rights to demand early repayment. That could be significant. And through a Telegram poll, Cointelegraph Cointelegraph asked community members about their opinion on the issue, and a majority of the participants refused to take sides. Meanwhile, the Three Arrows Capital bankruptcy processes faces difficulties as its founders may be located in Indonesia as well as the United Arab Emirates, where it may be difficult to enforce court orders. Lawyers who represent liquidators have claimed that the Three Arrows Capital founders have failed to coordinate with liquidators in the past few months, despite agreeing to a communications protocol. Then on December 2nd, which was yesterday, the legal team for liquidators also called out the Three Arrow Capital's founders for talking to the media and being active on social media while failing to engage with them. The legal team claimed that the founders only had limited discussions with liquidators, frequently changing jurisdictions. So there you have it. How do you feel this is likely to play out? And do you think this can potentially, it's given me vibes of what just happened with Alameda Research and FTX being Barry Silbert, is in charge of Genesis as well as DCG. And now you have this debt owed of roughly $1.6 billion. And it seems like to me, Barry Silbert doesn't have the funds, or they're not liquid or not available, or why would you not pay it? And it's interesting as well because the Winklevoss twins are amongst the largest hodlers of Bitcoin in the world. So I definitely know they have the money to make this right, but they're pointing the finger at Barry Silbert, and Barry Silbert's pointing the finger back at, Gemini and the Winklevoss twins. So hopefully we get some resolution out of this. I just hope this doesn't cause another massive black swan event, which many have been anticipating, as 2023 has already kicked off with a bang, to say the least. But let me know how you feel this is likely to play out, and I'll be keeping you posted as I get more details as they're released. With that being shared, now let's discuss when Bitcoin bear bottom, for Christ's sake, right? Widely followed crypto analyst says there are three key models flashing signs that Bitcoin's bear market woes may have longer to go. In a new strategy session, Nicholas Merton, host of Data Dash, tells his 500,000 YouTube subs that three models have been accurately predicting Bitcoin's bottom in the past, but they aren't pointing towards a recovery anytime soon. First, the trader points to the net unrealized profit loss metric, which divides Bitcoin investors' unrealized profit or loss by the Bitcoin market cap. Quoting him here, all three of the bottoming indicators are still not showing any clear signs of recovery or strength. We got the net unrealized profit loss, one of our favorite models here, still sitting in capitulation territory, but still far away from what we have seen in the previous bear markets. The trader then brings up the supply and profit metric, which measures the amount of Bitcoin that are currently in the green, quoting him here, in a typical normal Bitcoin bear market. We come down to a point range of about 45. Right now we're sitting at 51 with a recent low at 49. We have yet to get there just yet. Merton also mentions the hash ribbons, an indicator that aims to show when Bitcoin miners have capitulated, generally because their cost of operating is higher than their mining rewards, as he shares here, to make matters worse. We have not seen real miner capitulation, not even the typical kind of capitulation we see in a normal bear market. With how bad things are right now, with how low Bitcoin's price is compared to the average cost of miners, these companies are burning through cash in order to extract Bitcoin that's worth a fraction of the cost of their mining and electricity. There needs to be a massive consolidation. There will be a lot of sell-side pressure that is just going to make things worse here in the near term before they get better. It is simply supply and demand. Now check it to watch this video Nicholas Merton did entitled The Most Important Bitcoin Chart That No One Is Watching. Check the show notes below the video in the description and let me know if you agree or disagree with the crypto analysts that we're likely to drop a lot further down here and that the Bitcoin bear market is not over yet. With that being shared, now for the moment we have all been waiting for, a $40,000 Bitcoin price prediction for the King Crypto coming by summer of this year, which is June, which is approximately 6 months away. Let's break it down. There's little agreement amongst Bitcoin commentators over the last few weeks, with crypto execs, research analysts, and billionaire investors offering widely different takes on what's in store for the King Crypto in 2023. One crypto exchange founder expects Bitcoin to spike to $40,000 by summer, while a Bitcoin billionaire, Tim Draper, renews his $250,000 Bitcoin price prediction for the year. Let's start with Erik Voorhees, the founder and CEO of crypto exchange ShapeShift, was optimistic about a potential recovery of Bitcoin's price during a recent interview with Bankless January 2nd, stating he wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin hit like $40,000 by the summer. Send it. Let's freaking go. Voorhees noted that his prediction were to come true, that he would be 2.5x from the current price of around 16,600, which he said is a great return. The crypto executive couldn't pinpoint the timing of the next bull run, only saying it will come sometime within the next 6 months to 3 years. He shut down the idea that it could take as much as 10 years, however, arguing that it could happen. It could mean the whole thing probably failed if that was to happen. And looking ahead, Voorhees said that the macro environment, interest rates, and the tightening of monetary conditions are big factors in how the crypto market will play out this year. He also acknowledged that the reputation of crypto from outsiders is just trash, but those commentators will also be the ones to be blindsided when the next rally happens. Voorhees said that whether we are in a bull or bear market, we are in the middle of a revolution right now. Facts. Let me know if you agree or disagree with Voorhees and his $40,000 Bitcoin price prediction by summer of this year. Meanwhile, Bitcoin billionaire Tim Draper, who I covered in great detail in yesterday's episode. If you missed it, be sure to check it out. Continues to knuckle down on his $250,000 Bitcoin price prediction via his most recent Twitter post, January 1st, showing he even has a printed on t-shirt of that $250,000 prediction here. See t-shirt, $250,000 by 2022. My prediction was off by a bit. Hasn't made it there yet. Certainly before the halvening, and we all know the halvening is set to occur in 2024. Draper first made his bold $250,000 Bitcoin price prediction during a speech at his own Draper University in San Mateo in April of 2018. At the time, he said he was looking into what he described as a crystal ball, saying he was thinking $250,000 for a Bitcoin by 2022. Draper said people would perceive those that believe in the predictions as crazy, but reassured his audience it would happen and be awesome. And in his most recent tweet, Draper conceded that his $250,000 by 2022 prediction was off by a bit, but said he believes it will certainly happen before the next Bitcoin halving, set to occur in April of 2024. His bullish predictions was, however, met with varied comments on Twitter, with one tweeting they had lost interest in the price of Bitcoin since Celsius stole the one Bitcoin that they had. And another tweeted, "You have high hopes," while another predicted that it is unlikely to even go back above 30,000 in 2023. Now for Mike McGlone, Draper's comments may have seemed particularly bullish even amongst Bitcoin supporters, but in September, Bloomberg Intelligence senior commodity strategist Mike McGlone, who has been optimistic about the future of the Bitcoin price in the past, tapped the crypto to only reach $100,000 by 2025. He made the prediction once before during an interview in October of 2020, where he said Bitcoin is on track to hit $100,000 by 2025. And a year later, he stood by that prediction in an interview with Kitco News, stating it is only a matter of time to get to $100,000. Facts. And he says the reason for this is that supply is still going down while adoption and demand are still increasing. Now let's discuss a very bearish prediction for 2023 coming from Standard Chartered. In December, the UK-based banking firm Standard Chartered predicted Bitcoin could drop as low as $5,000 in 2023 as one of the possible financial market surprises of the year. And according to a December 5th report from CNBC, rising yields and a plunge in tech stocks can lead to an acceleration of a Bitcoin sell-off, causing further bankruptcies and collapses in crypto and a collapse in investors' confidence of digital assets. However, the author of the investor note, Eric Robertson, the firm's global head of research, noted this was an extreme prediction that fell outside of his own baseline views and outside of market consensus. I agree with that 100%. I am not anticipating a $5,000 Bitcoin price in 2023. However, if it did occur and that timeline played out, I'd be seizing the moment and taking advantage of it, to say the least. Now, while some crypto industry figures have been confident enough to share their Bitcoin forecast for the years ahead, others have been more reserved in sharing their thoughts on the subject. Co-founder and managing partner of digital asset management platform Nexo, Antonio Trenchev, recently explained that there were many factors that can influence the price of Bitcoin. Also, we have Alex McCurry, CEO and co-founder of blockchain solution provider Solidify, or is it Solidify.io. He said on January 3rd that Bitcoin is a completely unpredictable asset, and author of best-selling book Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, hasn't made any price predictions in the recent months either, despite frequently posting about Bitcoin on his Twitter page. One of his most recent posts, "Are you investing in Bitcoin?" Yes, I am. I am excited about Bitcoin. Why? Because Bitcoin is classified as a commodity, much like gold, silver, and oil. Most crypto tokens are classified as a security, and SEC regulations will crush most most of them, I am buying more BTC. So there you freaking have it. Let me know if you agree or disagree with that $40,000 prediction coming from ShapeShift CEO Erik Voorhees or Tim Draper's $250,000 Bitcoin price prediction. Holla at your boy. With that being shared, now let's break down the final segment, or I should say my favorite segment of the show, which is the live Q&A. And let's see who we got here in the live chat. And Happy New Year to everyone just tuning in here. Appreciate all of the ongoing support. Mikey likes it. Pleasure to see ya. BitBud in the building. Tough Cookie. We got Ellen. We got Irish 80CA. We got Frankie V. We got Coin Father. As always, brother, I appreciate the super chat contribution this morning. Thanks for throwing $10 my way. You're the man. Coin Father says ETH will most likely hit at least $800 this year. Do you agree with Coin Father's prediction there? Holla at your boy. Irish says, shout out from Toronto. Shout out to all my Canadians. Happy New Year 2023. Crypto Twitter going to be full of rocket ship emojis, Bitcoin, XRP, HBAR. I am a whale. I'm sorry, I am not a whale, but I have one advantage over the average person. At least I have started to buy. That's what's up. Massive props to Irish 80CA. That's what's good. Tough Cookie says, hasn't been to Seattle in 4 years. Bitcoin Trini, Happy New Year to you as well, family. 1984 for me, minus 4 years in Florida. Holy moly, you need a vacation. Coinfather says, BitBud also a lot of time with the majority is doing something. I will tend to do the opposite and usually will win on the trade. You make a great point there, as whatever retail investors are expected, typically in crypto, the opposite occurs. So if the majority, like 90% of the people, are expecting one thing, there's a very good chance that the opposite can play out. That's just the nature of the beast that we're in. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's wild. Mikey says, weak hands are out is right. Hope no more roadkill, please. Preach. Yeah, Coinfather says, I don't know. I'm just putting out there what I think is still a good coin. Word up, word up, word up. Coinfather says, BitBud, I targeting at least $17,000 to $18,000 price, or $17 to $18 price for a sell of Solana. Okay. Bubba says, glad you're doing well. Appreciate the love, Bubba. Always a pleasure. Evening, JV. Evening, crush it with Ian or anyone tuning in from the other side of the world here. Coinfather says, I am back to 100% health. I'm glad to hear that. All had the stint to the ER. Oh, my God. Yeah, man. It saddens me when I hear people going to the hospital or things, health-wise occurring. So just wishing you prosperity, health, and continued abundance heading into the new year, family. Johnny Midas, always a pleasure. Callie in the building. Morning to all. Yeah. Move to El Salvador while you can, says BitBud. Let's actually discuss that for a moment. I wouldn't mind moving to El Salvador, but I do have a child here in Puerto Rico, and her baby mama lives here in Puerto Rico, so it's not as easy as just packing my bags and leaving. However, I do personally like El Salvador, and if I didn't have a child and I didn't already live in Puerto Rico, it would be at the top of my list as a place to become a citizen for the obvious reasons. There's tax advantages. It's Bitcoin, city. It literally is Bitcoin city. They're leading the way as the first country to make Bitcoin a legal tender. So there's so many advantages. I would have absolutely just follow Max Kaiser and Stacey Herbert. However, I'm in Puerto Rico. There's still advantages here. One advantage for a U.S. citizen to come to Puerto Rico, it doesn't require a passport. You don't need to denounce your USA residency, which you may have to do in El Salvador to become a citizen over there. So you have to keep that in mind. Here in Puerto Rico, a couple of the tax advantages are as follows. For those of you not in the know, they have something called Act 60, and you could take advantage of this act if you apply, and if you qualify, of course. It could take up to 6 months to qualify. It's kind of a lengthy process, but if you are approved, it allows you to live here on the island. You must live here for at least 183 days out of the year, meaning 6 months, meaning it's your primary residence. So I can literally live in Florida for almost 6 months and spend 6 months here and still take advantage of the benefits, or I can live anywhere else in the world as well, which is pretty cool. But nonetheless, here's how the laws work. One of the laws under Act 60 is, instead of paying a, federal income taxes. How many of you love to pay your federal income taxes? Instead of paying federal income taxes, instead we pay a 4% corporate tax. How does that add up? For every $100,000 profit as a business owner, I'm responsible for paying 4% corporate tax, which is roughly $4,000. In comparison to when I lived in Florida, if I profited $100,000 hypothetically, theoretically for the year, then I would be responsible for paying anywhere between $30,000 and $40,000 in taxes. Massive difference. Another massive tax advantage being in Puerto Rico under Act 60 is zero capital gains tax on all investments, including real estate, including cryptocurrency. I discovered these laws back in 2017. I took advantage of them in 2018, and I have been in Puerto Rico ever since, and I'm still grateful I took advantage of that, because at the end of the day, it can be very difficult to get ahead when you got to give all of your profits back and pay it in taxes at the end of the year. So I was just looking at ways for me to get ahead for my family and to be able to do really good things as well, such as contribute more to charities and make more donations instead of donating all of my money to pay taxes at the end of the year. So if you don't know, now you know. And how many of you guys weren't aware of that? Let me know. Coinfather says we need to buy a plot in Puerto Rico and call our street Satoshi Boulevard. I like that. And we all just build our vacation homes on the street. That would be quite interesting. Yeah. Mario Perez, good to see you. Greetings from Portland. How's it going, family? Corky Collins says, would love to see $40,000, but we'll be stacking up. Until then, I feel you, Corky. I'm with you. Coinfather says Kiyosaki is stacking. Absolutely. And shout out to Rich Dad. He is my favorite boomer. I read his book as a young adult, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, very long time ago. Absolutely helped transform my perspective on how I view things, especially money. You know what I mean? So massive shout out to Rich Dad. Lloyd Schultz is right. I guess 5,001 this year. Price is right style. Could you imagine a $5,000 Bitcoin? Let's just hypothetically said that occurred this year. What are you going to do about it? How many Bitcoin are you going to stack? Because I know that's what many are dreaming of right now, especially those in accumulation mode. Yeah, 50,000 this year. Someone will guess it right. Man, I'd love to see a $50,000 Bitcoin price. I'd love to see the volatility. I'd love to see a crash to 5,000 and then a parabolic rise to 50,000, returning to the all-time high of 70,000, going parabolic leading up to the halving, reaching new all-time highs, surpassing and dwarfing the previous all-time highs. Could you imagine that? Could you imagine Bitcoin going 5x the previous all-time high this next cycle? It's a possibility. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but even if we were only 2x this cycle from the all-time high that we hit in 2021 back in November, that's still realistically $139,000 Bitcoin price. Realistically. So if we were to 5x, holy moly, we're talking about multiple six figures. Anything is possible, family. Anything is possible. That's why we're in crypto. We love it. You know what I mean? It's exciting, to say the least. Yeah, let's go Puerto Rico. Tax benefits. That's right. Man, I mean, what other places in the world, what are the top countries you would relocate to if you had the opportunity to do so? Let me know in the comments. Another one I hear often is Dubai. Why do a lot of people go to Dubai? Taxes. However, if you become a Dubai citizen, I am pretty sure you probably have to denounce your American citizenship. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I would imagine that's how it works. So do you want to lose your American citizenship if you're already an American is the question. If you don't mind losing it, then I guess, it doesn't matter. However, I see a lot of people, I have friends from all over the world. A lot of the people who are not U.S. citizens, they prefer Dubai because they can just, take advantage of all those, advantages, being in a very advanced city as well. Very little to no crime. It's safe. But it is in the middle of the desert, so do keep that in mind. And it is on the other side of the world, so there's pros and cons with every location. But I'm just saying, El Salvador would be on the top of my list if I wasn't already here, established under Act 60, and with a family in Puerto Rico. Mana. Okay, Decentraland will be to the moon after Bitcoin starts going to $100,000 USD. Word up. Coinfather says, okay, JV, I found where to retire in 10 years. Duke says, I hear Indonesia is fairly tax-friendly. Coinfather says, my plan is to accumulate at least 2 to 3 more Bitcoin before 2024. My goal as well is to stack as many more Bitcoin as I possibly can this year in 2023, because we all know what's going to happen 2024, 2025. Yeah, pass that hopium bong is right, BitBud. Plenty of hopium. You must be getting into gaming part of crypto. Well, yeah, Mana or Decentraland is a part of the gaming ecosystem. Ellen says, Duke, yes, I have heard that Indonesia is decent. Some of my favorite, I've probably been to 30 countries. I've lived all over the world before settling down here in Puerto Rico. I spent time in Thailand. I spent time in Bali. I spent time in Medellin, Colombia. There's a lot of beautiful countries in my mind which are way superior than the United States, because the United States has a lot of backlash that comes along with it, especially with the so-called boss in charge right now, Mr. Biden. Just make you wonder. But I think there are a lot of beautiful places outside of the U.S. that many people would never imagine how amazing it is, especially the people in the U.S. who have never left. They just assume the United States is the greatest place in the world. But the more you travel and the more you get outside of that box, the more you realize the mainstream media and influencers have been lying to you. Maybe the regulators want to keep you in the United States. Maybe they purposely show you very bad news in other parts of the world because they want you scared to travel so they can keep you trapped in and continue to tax the hell out of you. Just saying, just my 2 Satoshis. Let me know what you think. I would live in Dubai, and yes. Okay, says Coinfather. That's what's up. I'd love to live all over the world. That's the cool thing here, is that you don't have to be stuck in one location. You can have one primary residence, but still travel all around the world and do what you got to do and establish relationships. I mean, there's people all over the world. The internet shows us how small the world is. There's people here literally probably from dozens of countries tuning in here today, right? It's good stuff. Dubai is number 1 for me, says BitBud. Interesting. Tell me why Dubai is number 1 for you, and you say El Salvador is number 2. Mikey says Thailand, my second home is there, and such an amazing place. I would love to have a second home in Thailand. One of my favorite countries in the world. When I went there, I just remember the Buddhist temples. I remember how kind the people were. I just love the culture. I'm fascinated with Buddhism, all this fun stuff. So definitely a great place to visit, and one of the best places I ever gone. Had one of the greatest times. Very inexpensive. You can get massages for like $15 for the hour. The malls were super advanced, better than the malls I experienced in Florida. I remember going to my first 5D movie theater experience. I remember the malls having like the most exotic cars available in dealerships. It was like I was expecting like a third world country, and I discovered like it was more advanced than what I was experiencing in Florida at the time. So I'm like, Thailand, top of the list, excellent place to be. Dragonflower says, I'm just trying to get out of Cali first. If I lived in California, and FYI, I have spent 4 years in California. I lived in Solvang, maybe about 45 minutes to an hour from Santa Barbara, where Oprah Winfrey, Michael Jackson, many very famous people live. And Cali, at one point when I was a child, I loved California. But now, if I lived in California, I kind of consider it its own separate country right now. I don't like it whatsoever due to the politics. It's very unfortunate, but it's being destroyed, it seems, purposely. Governors are crap. The laws are crap. It seems to be getting worse and worse. More homeless people. I visited San Francisco a couple of years ago, and I left depressed. I'd never visited a place and left that depressed before, but it was because there were so much homeless people on the streets, people just shitting in the streets. It was sad. It was very sad. And I'm like, how has this become California? You know what I mean? California used to be one of the best places in the world. So it is very sad. Sad world we're living in. It is a clown world. It is what it is. BitBud, it will help with the pain I have with my arthritis. It's legal here in Washington. I just quit after 30 years. We do have, I don't know if you're referring to medical cannabis, but it is legal here on the island for medical use. I do have my prescription, and I take advantage of that as well. I think it's good stuff. It helps me personally with my insomnia so I can go to sleep at night. And I love 420, one of my favorite. Duke says, what's life like in Puerto Rico? What are the neighborhoods like? And how does the day today go? Great question. They have neighborhoods, the craziest neighborhoods you can imagine as far as wealth is concerned. You have local neighborhoods which are more impoverished and everything in between. The most expensive city for real estate on the island is Dorado. I lived last year in Dorado. That's where the Pauls live, like Jake and Logan Paul. You have Ricky Martin lives out there in Dorado. You have $40 million plus homes in Dorado. Probably one of the nicest places you can visit in Puerto Rico. So if you're going to visit, great place to check it out. I would recommend, instead of just blindly moving somewhere, come visit. Like before I moved here, I had to visit the island, experience it. I met with a realtor, showed me different options, different cities, different types of real estate, whether, condos, maybe on the ocean, or single family residences. I decided to live outside of the main city. I'm not in San Juan. I spent some time in the main city, and me personally, I can never deal with that again after dealing with COVID in a big city like San Juan where it's overpopulated. There's pros and cons, obviously, but I love being just outside of the city where I'm at. I'm in a beautiful home, beautiful, quiet neighborhood, maybe 10, 15 minutes from the beaches, maybe only 10, 15 minutes from San Juan or casinos or anything you can imagine that you want to do. They have everything here, so any nightlife you can imagine, you could probably experience it here. Kind of reminds me a lot of Florida. A lot of the things that you can find in Florida, you can find here. The weather is very similar. It's hot. So if you're warm-blooded like myself, I was born in New York. I was born in a snowstorm. I grew up in New York till I was around 8 years old. And I just remember always being freezing and cold. And when I moved to California and then Florida, I just absolutely loved it. I love the hot weather. I also spent a few years in Costa Rica, Pura Vida, to all my Costa Ricans out there. Costa Rica is another beautiful place. Unfortunately, they don't have the same tax incentives, but it is a beautiful place with a lot of macro climates that you can experience on that small island. It was definitely one of the highlights of traveling outside the U.S. I think that was the very first country I lived in, being a United States citizen and moving from the United States and abandoning my place. This is like, I don't know, 20 years ago, and just starting life over again in Puerto Rico. I've also lived in China. I was an English teacher for 13 months back in 2010 and 2011, so I know what it's like to live in China. And I wasn't living in Beijing, even though I traveled to Beijing, and I traveled to, what's the other place right outside of China? Hong Kong, which is a pretty cool place to be. Probably my favorite place in all of China is Hong Kong, but that's not even considered real China because it's outside of China. But I lived in a city called Taiyuan, which was the old capital of China, and it's the old capital because of its coal production. And the city had so much pollution. The sky was full of smog 24/7. And there was so much smog, and I'm not even exaggerating, there's so much smog in the sky that by the end of the day, if you picked your nose, your boogers were no longer green, they were brown or black. That's how bad it was. The city I lived in was so bad, they wore masks. This is pre-COVID. Why did they wear masks? Because the pollution was that heavy. So I can only imagine the pollution that went into my lungs, considering the pollution that went into my nose. Sick. But so I would never live in China ever again. Great place to visit. Cool place to experience. But never, ever can I live personally in China. I'm sticking with Puerto Rico, at least for the time being. Dragonflower says, you were talking about the blizzard of 1996, JV. I was there. No, I was born in 83. So this was the blizzard of 1983. My original name was going to be Anthony, but last minute, my parents decided to call me Justin, JV, my last name, V. Anyways, because I was born just in time. I would have been born in a snowstorm in a car. I made it to the hospital just in time, which is an interesting story. But anyways, let's end it here. I appreciate each and every one of you. Happy New Year. Wishing you all the best here for 2023. But now for the big finish, which is a recap of what I cover with you here in today's show. We discuss the latest technical analysis as Bitcoin teases weekly highs, as traders eye the Bitcoin price leg up to $17,300. We also discuss Bitcoin volatility may return to catch up with gold this year in 2023. We also discuss Ethereum creator Vitalik Buterin revealing what he is bullish on for this year in 2023. We also discuss the Three Arrows Capital founder getting called out by the crypto community as he fires off accusations against DCG. We also discuss, is there more bear market amongst us, as well as some very bullish price predictions coming from Erik Voorhees, predicting Bitcoin to 2.5x from here and hit $40,000 by summer, which is June. We also touched upon Tim Draper's $250,000 Bitcoin price prediction. But where do you feel the Bitcoin price is likely to go next? Let me know in the comments right down below, and I look forward to seeing you on tomorrow's show.